Study warns radicalized right-wingers uniting online. Many inspired by Trump threaten Australian democracy. The researchers urge Australian leaders to safeguard the nation's political system from these very insidious and ongoing threats. Whenever I travel in the Eastern Hemisphere, I'm amazed how many of the Australians I meet are very similar in swagger and worldview to the stereotypical Texan. Don't blame the US on this. Y'all brought us Rupert Murdoch. Let's ignore the Rupert Murdoch-funded desensitization that led to their extremism. Wanna know where right-wing extremism seemed to concentrate? Anywhere right-biased media is monopolized. Trump is just using Fox News against Americans. No different with Australia and their same exact news source, but reskin for their politics. Fat chance. The current government benefits from Trumpism. The PM has a fucking mega hat in his office, and Craig Kelly is the official Australian segment of the Trump human centipede. Trump is seen as the liberator for a huge swath of poor and oppressed white people. They see him as being the opposite to the rich elite who will speak out on their behalf when no one else will. Unfortunately, he is one of the rich elite. One of the worst kinds. People are motivated by what he says but couldn't be bothered to learn what he does. Not surprised by the links, it's somewhat hilarious to have seen videos of anti-mask people in Australia complaining that things were unconstitutional and the like, since the Australian Constitution doesn't have a Bill of Rights. They've also got sovereign citizens, which rely on a whole bunch of weird US law interpretations to justify themselves. It's a sign that they're taking notes from US nuts. Radicalization is the natural result of social media. Think about it, social media lets you connect with others you otherwise wouldn't, because it would be more difficult to know them. You have certain ideas and notions. You start following on Twitter people who think alike. You start joining subreddits of people that think alike. Then you are bombarded by news that reinforce your beliefs, and that talk about how the other group is terrible. So your beliefs are reinforced and you start getting more and more into it, slowly getting into more radical ideas. You get bombarded with so much stuff in favor of your ideas and against anything else, you start thinking the other group/idea is worse than it really is. And this is even before any malice is introduced. It is literally a natural result. Add in fake news and people with an agenda and now you're in deep. The internet is amazing. Social media will be the downfall of humanity. As much as I like Reddit, it's important to be subscribed to subreddits different than the things you like. Sign Kevin Rudd's petition, https://www.f.gov/petition_list, ID equals N1938, about Rupert Murdoch's media monopoly. Only applies to Australian citizens. Step 1, shut down Murdoch. These people have no fucking clue about Australian politics. Murdoch is way more of a fucking problem than a couple whining bogans. Trump is really held up as an example of a defender of white identity by many in this extreme subculture, Drugan told The Guardian. However, we also see it being presented in a distinctly Australian way. I like how a certain set of white folk live on land stolen from indigenous people and then continue to consider themselves under attack. Murdoch media empire egging them on as in the US, easy. Exile Rupert Murdoch. I'm in no way supporting right-wing views, but I also don't understand why people are surprised this kind of thing is happening. I just watched a video of Ashley Shackelford getting paid to tell a whole room full of white people that they'll always be racist and are raised to be demons, with many cheers and exclamations of support from people on Twitter. There's really no difference between her video and right-wing extremism, aside from the fact that she is not chastised or ostracized by the public and media for the views. Her particular brand of hate has become acceptable and or normalized because for whatever reason white people are seen as incapable of being a victim of racism. It's only logical to expect the extremists on the other side will feel threatened and react. Apparently culture is our #1 export in America these days. They aren't good exports, but there they are. The Australian government is doing a fine job themselves destroying democracy. I've seen some crazy debates with radical right white nationalist types, and for some reason a good chunk of them are Australian. Not sure what is going on over there, but it's sad to see. On one hand, I think getting rid of all social media would do wonders for the world. On the other hand, it does make it a lot easier to track down the crazies. The authoritarian hate virus is real. Racism is real, and there are real racists, people who hold racist views. However, the moral panic over white supremacy has had an unfortunate tendency to label everything one or two steps to my right as white supremacy. Don't like critical race theory? Of course not, you're a racist. Do you actually believe that nations should have immigration policies which are enforced? Most fascists do. Are you not yet ready to give up on capitalism and the nuclear family? Well, that's just because you can't give up these forms of whiteness, you darned white supremacist. Moreover, if you keep telling the more impressionable among us that the only alternative to being your variety of progressive, whatever that variety is to be a white supremacist, you will find that many oblige you as they see this as the alternative. Ah, yes. Democracy is when you shut down all sources and silence all the people that disagree with your worldview. Advance Australia fair. People that are pissed off at the Australian government right now? They should be. If they weren't pissed, I'd think they were idiots. I know it's hard to think over the throbbing racism, but Australians might notice that Americans are dying of COVID, so maybe Trump isn't all he is cracked up to be. There is actually a really sketchy subversion of the progressive movement and academia in Australia from the Chinese, which makes me question this data. They can thank one of their own, Rupert Murdoch. Or you could just learn what happens by watching America burn because of these right-wing assholes. Funny, the media never talks about left-wing fanatics. They just gaslight anyone who brings them up. Meanwhile, the radical left is on the front page of Reddit every day. The left is incapable of understanding that legislatively imposing their ideologies on others and then telling people who disagree that they are wrong/racist/evil will make people hate them. Then they blame everyone else, and Trump is the natural easy target. If you tell people that everyone is racist, the structures of society are racist, capitalism is evil, meritocracy is racist and sexist, and everyone should have the same outcome, there's a lot of people who are not going to like that. That's not because they are racist, that's because life is hard and many people have chosen to work hard and put in extra effort over many years to try to get ahead, and they are being victimized by socialist policies which reward failure and punish success. Isn't Reddit ever going to figure out that calling everyone far-right/racist/fascist just because they don't agree with their political views doesn't actually make them so? Sure, there's absolutely real far-right/racist/fascist individuals that claim to belong to that side, but the majority of them maybe just don't like what they are currently being offered. The left burns down cities. The media, right-wing terrorists. Everyone else, zany face. Removed. Question: why is the right always bad and the left always good in the mainstream media? Removed. Removed. Wow. Trump gets blamed for everything now, huh? Yes, we can see them on Reddit as well. Well, I'd love it if they'd fuck off from r/Canada. Oh, shut the fuck up, lol. Removed. Removed. Deleted. Removed. Why am I always being told that right-wing political factions are bad? Removed. Removed. The main threat is someone hijacking science to marginalize a large segment of the population by declaring them radicalized right-wingers, and trying to deny their right to freely associate and participate in the political process.